right. If you are watching this, let me know you can hear me. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, let's get this started here.
Is there a delay?
Well, so yeah, Facebook will see this a few seconds after YouTube. So, all right, we got 3 people watching. Can we hear? Can we hear? Hey, Plantful Life, good to see you. Let me just turn that off. All right. And pop this over. Make sure we can get this all going here. Okay. All right. I am here. I have my mom.
Hello, Mama Miller in the house.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. Happy Mother's Day to everyone out there.
And then I also have my sister, also known as the Midwest Vegan Queen, on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. So we are here, and I wanted to do, I normally do, I've been doing the past couple of weeks, my Sunday streams. And so I wanted to thank you, Dahlia, it's great to see you. Happy Mother's Day. But we've been doing these Sunday streams. We've been answering some questions, and I wanted to go ahead and bring in my mom, since we're back here in Indiana, and my sister, and so answer some questions, talk about a few things. And Tim, I see you there. Great to see you. Thanks for tuning in. So let me know your questions. We're going to go for around about 45 minutes today, so it's not going to be as long. But I want to know if we get some questions, make sure you throw them in there, and we'll be sure to answer them. So first off, Mom, how long have you been eating a plant-based diet?
It will be about 2 years, 2.5 years. I can't remember.
So about over 2 years?
2 years in October.
2 years in October. 2 years in October.
Seems like forever.
So a year and a half.
Okay, all right.
A year and a half. Okay. And then Grace, how long have you been eating plant-based?
2 years on Valentine's Day this year.
Okay. And how much weight have you lost since going vegan or plant-based?
Altogether, my weight loss journey has been 60 pounds.
60 pounds. And Mom, how much have you lost?
70 and still going.
70 and still going. Well, that's a great thing though. So a lot of people, now this is one thing we see in the community, the plant-based community. And I'll just say this, if you're just tuning in, you might not know my story. I've lost 100 pounds. So together we've lost 230 pounds.
There you go.
All together here. So we could get my dad, who's working on some tools or whatever, we could bring him out here, and we've lost a whole him and plus some. So that's a lot of weight. So we're very, that's pretty awesome. So, hey, Andrew Hawes jumped in. Hey, Andrew.
Andrew!
Yes,
Sunflower!
my honeybee.
So, Brittany's on, the Girardi family. Guys, if you haven't checked her out, make sure you check out her channel. Great recipes. But so the thing is, when you see people on this journey, we all start somewhere. And it just so happens that for us, we all started at a much more weight, right? We started at a much higher point, which means that when we lose all the weight, we get to say we lost a lot more weight. So if you start in this health journey and you lose, you might weigh 200 pounds and you lose 50 pounds and you get down to a healthful weight, then you say you lose 50 pounds. Well, when you start out at 260 and you lose 100 pounds and get down to 160, you're going to say you lose 100 pounds.
We're not saying my starting weight.
That's fine. That's fine. And that's totally fine. But we're all somewhere in this journey. We're all moving towards a goal. And so, Allison just jumped on. Hey, Allison, happy Mother's Day to you.
Happy Mother's
Day. So let's talk about you as someone who raised us. It's Mother's Day, everybody. And so you are someone who I admire a lot, someone who raised us. But someone who also set us on a path for growing up, a path for disease, sickness, and a life of being in and out of hospitals in our older ages potentially. So how have you made that transition? Someone who you started in your 40s on this way of eating. You didn't start in your 20s like I did, like Grace, or before she was 20, or maybe 20-ish. 20 when she started. So we were, you could say we were new age and jumping in on this way of eating. So for you, what was that transition like? What was the big impetus to jumping on this way of eating, and how was that transition? That's what people want to know. We have a lot of people who are in their 40s and 50s who are wanting to make the change, wanting to make the switch in diet, but like so many, just you're stuck in a rut. You're used to doing the same thing over and over again. So how did you make that change?
So I think one of the biggest things is, I know he kind of painted me as a villain, but not knowing, thinking that you're feeding your family really well, homemade food, because we didn't eat out of boxes. So everything was really homemade. But it was, we didn't know to make vegetables without tons of butter. I mean, Grandma Sandy, butter makes it better, y'all. I think she came up with that before Martha or Paula Dean did. Yeah. So vegetables had cheese, lots of cheese, butter. So everything changed. And I think that when you are given knowledge, you either have to do something with it or you have to. And for a while, I'm like, you know what? I'm so happy for you. I'm so glad for you. Probably not for me. But then you and Gracie both challenged me to the 21 days.
Thank you, Dr. Barnard.
Thank you. Yes. And so I was committed to doing the 21 days, and just literally, I love my kids. I would do anything for them, anything. And so I thought, well, that'll suffice everything. And so I did that. And actually, Dougley and I were on our way to Florida on vacation. And so I took the book with me. And so we were kind of just committed to eating that way for that week.
Yeah.
To starting with it. I was going to read the book on vacation, and we were just going to eat that way. And so Dougley and I both did.
Dougley being our dad.
Yes.
Your husband.
Yes. And so the more I read and the more I cooked and found out, I really don't need all of that other food. And if it changes my health path, and then of course, hearing the future prospect of having grandchildren, and they want them to be safe at our house when we get them and they come and eat. I want that. I want to do anything that would help. I guess the biggest thing, once I knew the health benefits, I thought there's nothing worth losing one day. I was here. I know. I wouldn't want to lose one day because of a bite of food, because of a morsel of food. If I had another day, I mean, I'm going to go to heaven someday. So but while I'm here on earth, I want to be here, and I want to be healthy, and I want to be with my kids and with my family. And there's not a morsel of food ever in the world worth losing a single day of time with your family.
Perfect. Yeah. A lot of people say that nothing tastes as good as healthy feels. Mm. Well, nothing tastes as good as spending time with your children, your grandchildren, your granddogs, right? Nothing tastes that good. And so, Bella, you want to go down? That's fine. But that's a tough thing for a lot of people, because on the outset, you might hear, thanks everybody for joining in. Nathan is in Richmond. Hey, Nathan, good to see you here. But a lot of people hear the health benefits of a whole food plant-based diet. And if you're just now tuning in, you've lost 70 pounds, you've lost 60 pounds, I've lost 100 pounds. And has it been through rapid exercise and in the gym for 3 hours a day, killing yourself? It's really, but no, I couldn't. When I first started, it was just by diet, because not diet in the sense of starving myself, but in diet in the sense of what I was eating, what I was putting in my body. And that was whole plant foods, a lot of starches, a lot of grains, a lot of things potatoes that have a lot of fiber, lower fat, and low in calorie density. And so I was able to fill up on them and lose the weight. But like you said, it's not, it is on the outset, right? That sounded great. I want to be around my kids. I want another second. That sounds great. But you get a month into it, 2 months into it, and your friends want to go out, or you're going to have a get together, and it just becomes a thing of, you've really got to set your feet in the ground and say, I'm making a choice for my health. And there is going to be that period of figuring things out. There is going to be that period of kind of stumbling here or there. But the goal is that every next meal, every next day, you're making the right decision. You're making a step towards the right decision. And now Grace, as someone who's lost 60 pounds as a much younger person, not that you're not young, my beautiful mother, but as someone who's younger, you've got friends who, growing up, you grew up in the same town as I did, you grew up with the same similar people as I did. We didn't know vegans. We didn't know people who eat plant-based. We just knew people that ate the same food that we did, that were just as fat and sick as we were, and it was just normalized, right? And so for you're in a younger crowd, you've got younger people around you. How was it making that switch? So tell us, how did you get into a vegan diet? How did you get into a plant-based diet? What was your reasoning to go towards that?
Well, my reasoning was you, and kind of on a whim, I had just finished a different way of lifestyle eating. I've just actually finished a Whole30.
Which is what for
Whole
people?
30 is, if I can't even remember, no carbs, no sugar, pretty much.
So it just not processed food.
No processed food.
Yeah. Which is not something we don't recommend processed
I
food,
can't
but
even remember.
we eat a lot of plants. We eat a lot of natural sugars. Priya's in. Hey Priya. Hey Darlene from Chesapeake. Chris, great to see you there. Make sure you ask any questions. We'll get back to Grace here in a second, but we've got the Midwest Vegan Queen, my sister here, who's lost 60 pounds. My mom here, Midwest Mama Miller on Instagram, and she's lost 70 pounds, and I've lost 100 pounds, if you don't know that. But we're here just going over some Mother's Day stuff and just getting to know these two beautiful ladies and their stories. So, Grace, you finished Whole30.
Yeah, I had literally just finished.
Which is like, if you haven't done it, it's like, it's like torturing your body. It's like you're cutting if you've been eating the standard American diet, right? You've been eating a bunch of processed foods. You've been eating like everybody else. Going to the a Whole30 type diet is really a tough thing to do. Yeah. And I think it's much tougher than going on a whole food plant-based diet. Right. And you don't get as many long-term benefits just because it's harder to stay on. But keep going. So you finish Whole30, and then what happens?
And then you call me. And
I call you.
You suggest that I try it, and I'm all like, wait, but I can't eat the eggs and the chicken that I just spent 30 days eating nothing but. And so I was a little nervous, and so I said, okay, I'll give you 30 days, just like my Whole30. And so Valentine's morning, I woke up, and I went right onto a vegan whole food plant-based diet. It started as more vegan, but then it transformed into more whole plant. It was plant-based, and then it turned into whole food plant-based. Over the amount of time, I felt incredible. I felt like I could never go back to the way of eating animals and the way it made me feel.
And now you were much quicker in your way of getting to it. You clung to, you jumped towards more so the animal side of things.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So for me, if you don't know my background, right, I've lost 100 pounds. Hey, Melissa from Jacksonville, Florida. Great to see you on here. Marie from Boston. Great to see you on here. Make sure you ask you guys any questions if you have any from this group here that's lost 230 pounds total so far. So and still going. We're still going. I'm kind of down to where I wanted to be, but I've also got a little more time with you guys. But so you clung towards more so the animal side of things. Yeah. But you know me, my background is I have a 4-year degree in animal science. So I like to say I have a 4-year degree in breeding, feeding, fattening, slaughtering, slicing, and serving every animal that old McDonald ever dreamed of, which right now, not something I'm proud of, but it is my past, it's my background. And Bella, hey, Bella, come here. Bella's over there scratching her butt. So, and it's making noise, I'm sure. All right, so that's my background. And so it was almost a weird thing because I was still in school when I started. I was still going to those livestock classes. So my shift was definitely more towards health, right? I had broken my back. I had ended my college football career. I'd gotten to the point, 1 second. Bella, come here.
Time out.
Come here.
The grand dogs are misbehaving.
What parenthood is.
Bella, taking care of the dogs, the pups, doesn't stop for anything. But so I had gotten to the point where I was used to formally exercising, and Bella is trying to get back to where she wanted to go. Melissa, Dr. Miller, will we see her today? I don't know if we're going to see her today. She's upstairs sleeping, taking a nap. So we'll see. But I had needed a way to lose weight without a ton of exercising because that was something I was unable to do after breaking my back. And so that's where I gravitated towards a plant-based diet. And if you followed along, you know my story there. I lost 100 pounds, got to where I am. And so got Gracie on board kind of at the start of that journey. And then Mom's jumped on there as well. And now let's talk about, for you, Grace, what's been the hardest thing about being on a whole food plant-based or a vegan diet?
The hardest thing probably will be the people that argue it, like at a health a health standpoint of things when I'm out and about.
You can't eat all those potatoes.
Yeah, yeah.
Potatoes make you fat. Didn't you know that?
Their health issues, like that they can't eat fruit because it's too high in sugar and it'll skyrocket whatever kind of health issues that they have. And how can I eat all the fruit that I want? And
so which is interesting because I hear this a lot, and I'm sure some people on viewing right now have felt the same way. You get on this whole food plant-based diet, you get on a vegan diet, and then all of a sudden everybody that you knew in the past that you know currently comes out of the woodworks as a nutrition and health expert, right? That you're not going to get enough protein, that you're going to get diabetes from the sugar, you can't eat all that fruit, you can't eat potatoes, you can't eat, all these different things. You're going to tear up your digestive. All these different things that people come out of the woodworks and say that they didn't say when you were stopping by Burger King for breakfast, McDonald's for lunch, and Wendy's for dinner, right? They were okay with that. That's okay. But when you go against that norm, then we've got problems. Then we've got a problem. And then you almost, to them, it's a threat to their way of living. It's a threat to them, and I'm sure you felt some of that. Maybe as Grace and I were kind of on that, we're coming home for some things, and we're not eating some of the things you're cooking. We're not eating what you're cooking. We're abstaining from a lot of the things that you may have sat around and spent a lot of time making. And so what was it like? You might have felt that pressure that we might put on other people, even though we don't mean to. It's not like we're out preaching. If you know me, I think the best way to get other people on board with this way of eating, with this way of living, is by showing how healthful it is in your own life, as your own self. So you are the living billboard. You are you are the spokesperson for a vegan diet. You want to change the planet. You want to help the planet. You want to help the animals. You want to help your health. Walk around and be healthy. Live healthfully. That's how you do it most effectively. And so Grace, mom just jumped over there. She's over there getting at grandma. She's being a grandma, getting after Bella right now. Bella's, I think, on a couch she wasn't supposed to be on. But so how did it feel? Me and Grace are coming home from college, or we're coming home for the summers, and you want to cook beef stew or whatever,
right.
and we're saying we're not eating that. We'll have we'll make some rice or some corn or tacos or whatever. But how was that transition? How'd that feel?
So I think, because for a mom, you just want to be able to cook for your family. I mean, that was our biggest thing. We would sit around and eat, and that's how we socialize and eat. But once I'm just like, tell me what you want. Give me your menu. Give me, because I always felt like I was a really, really good cook. I mean, people would rave. I was raised by Amish nannies. My grandma was a fabulous cook. My mom's a fabulous cook, but not of healthy food, just of the Southern. Everything had oil, everything had grease, everything had deep fried, everything. And so not only it wasn't just the food that we were using, but how we were cooking it too. My biggest thing was I could not believe, and it just amazes me, because I thought, I did so good because I changed everything to olive oil. I changed everything to EVOO, extra virgin olive oil. And knowing that still was such not healthy for us. And
wait, what about olive oil? I heard was healthy oil.
No. So
are you sure?
But knowing,
that's a common. Right, you're not alone in believing that there's healthy oils and unhealthy oils.
No, not alone, but I was arguing it with you.
Yeah. I was saying, Mom, you can't. If you want to lose weight, you want to get healthy, you want to reach the massive amount of benefits from this way of eating. You've got to cut out the oils, because that's one of the number one poison foods. One of those foods that you can ingest, but it does not benefit your health, and it detracts from your health, that a lot of vegans and a lot of people who are transitioning to a whole food plant-based diet jump onto.
Now, let me say, so here at home, we have no oil, so we don't use oils at home. So we saute, just putting the vegetables in a pot or in a skillet and sauteing them. Once in a while, we'll add water, or once in a while, we'll add vegetable broth. But so we use no oil at home. Now, if we go out to dinner, there is still, I'm not quite to the point of Dr. Esselstein of saying that I'm 100% allergic to oil. Yeah. So we do still have a little bit often,
if you're going out to eat, you're eating a vegan meal, right?
Exactly. Absolutely.
A completely vegan meal. They're going to put some oil on there.
Right.
Not
butter.
Not great. No. Not great for health. But if you think about, and if you're someone who eats out for 80, 75, 80% of your meals, you're not going to reach the benefits. If you're someone who eats out 5 to 8 to 10% of your meals, you could probably get away from it. If you're experiencing some ill effects from years and years and years of the standard American diet, you need to cut it out, and you definitely don't have it at home. But if you're out, you're having to be, celebratory meals are one thing. But a lot of us can have celebratory meals 3 times a week, 4 times a week, and that is a problem. But at home, right? I get asked this a lot. I got asked it this week, and I thought of a good way to bring it into the conversation is, how do I cook without oil? I just have never. How do I cook without oil? And here's the key, everybody. Don't have it at home, because guess what? If you don't have oil at home, you're going to go on YouTube. You're going to find a plant-based Gabriel video, a Forks Over Knives video, a Dr. Esselstyn video, a Dr. McDougall video, a Brittany Girardi video. You're going to find one of these videos where it shows you how simple it is to cook without oil. But if you have it at home, if you have it in your cupboard and say, I'm never going to use it, I'm just going to keep it in there just because it's wasteful to get rid of it. Well, guess what? When you've got to make dinner in 30 minutes and you've got fresh vegetables that you need to saute and you've never cooked without oil, you're gonna grab that oil and you're gonna get rolling with it. So the key is, get it out of the house. Yes. You're gonna learn how to cook without oil. You're gonna learn to bake without oil. You're gonna learn to do all these different things that we've been almost brainwashed into believing you have to have oil for. But you don't. You don't have to have the oil. You can do it without. You can use vegetable broth, parchment paper, silicone mats in the oven for baking. Applesauce and a lot of different baked goods. So Bubbles on high alert in here. But so those are some great options there. So yeah, so that was a big thing for a lot of people is the oil.
Right.
Is the oil.
Yes.
I can get on board with eating healthy foods, the vegetables and the fruits and all this. But when it comes to cooking, there's a big amount of pushback from the idea of, hey, Bubbles. A big idea of pushback from the idea of changing the way you cook things, because we're coming to you, Grace and I are saying we really care about your health. We've changed our health. We want you to stop eating animal products. We want you to start eating vegetable-based meals, starch-based meals, things like this. And you say, okay, I'm going to give that a try. And then we say, we want you to stop eating what you've been eating. We want you to change everything you've been eating. And now we want you to prepare it in a completely different way.
That and they came home and went through our whole pantry. And so first Gracie and I got rid of things. And then the drill sergeant came home and went through even more things because I thought, oh, well, Daddy might still want, some of this, or he might still want some of that. But he is, I'm not sure what that is. Smoke alarm now going off in the house. Everything all right there, love?
That's right.
So now we have new ingredients. So, but it's going to the store and reading the back of the ingredients and reading everything before we get it, knowing that it's hidden in there. Some of the ingredients are hidden. But I just had committed, if you have not had Gabriel's roasted potatoes, or is that what you're calling them?
My 15-minute French fries.
15-minute French fries, because we have a local grocery store here that you can get deep fried. I don't know if they're called deep fried or
they're like deep fried wedges.
Roasted potato wedges, and they're pretty amazing. But as I'm eating them in the past, very unhealthy because it's the oil that we're trying to stay away from, that oil. But once in a while you have that craving for it. So we made them this week, and I was committed. Because sometimes it's just you're just so tired and you don't. But I pre-baked the huge thing of the potatoes. Put them in his bag or a storage container.
Let them cool, put them in the fridge.
Yes, and then at night, came home for Dougley and I, made like 3 nights in a row. I think we had these baked fries. Mm-hmm. They were amazing and delicious, and took the craving out that I would normally have for these.
An unhealthier
version, right? That's just a small thing, because I could have done that.
Yes, for the air fryer, it definitely helps. 1 second here. Well, if you haven't met my dad, he's walking around with a smoke detector that's going off. Okay, well, let's answer a question here. That's a good thing with the oil. So Marie, how do you make a Beyond Meat without oil? Well, here's the thing. We don't use Beyond Meats. We don't, in our home, we don't use things like that. And so maybe Grace.
I have several times.
Okay, so
For when I'm introducing maybe to someone that has not ever eaten anything that's vegan and thinks that
so that's
transitional.
Gracie's not as strict as I am.
Absolutely not. And if you look at my page, you will definitely see I am.
But you're eating a plant-centered diet. You're eating vegan.
I don't cook with oil on a regular.
So here's the deal. Here's my answer on that, Marie. I don't eat Beyond Meats. I don't eat any of the vegan meats like that. Other than, say, if we're out, we're doing a celebratory meal. They might have that at a restaurant. Someone can choose that. Someone go help with the smoke alarm. Yeah,
so that kind of does what he wants.
Yeah,
he doesn't need help.
You can probably drive here, try to help him, and he's probably gonna just I don't know. And so I would say to be maybe not. So especially something. So here's why I don't eat the Beyond Meat, the vegan meats like that, is because of the high fat content. They are filled with oils and high fats already. And so I guess if you were going to make it, adding some oil wouldn't necessarily change the contents of that a lot. But I recommend going for things like bean burgers, for whole food plant-based burger recipes. And I vetted those recipes. You can go to my website, plantbasedgabriel.com, and check out all my bean burger recipes. And I'll tell you this: I've tried them on Amish pig farmers. I've tried them on cattle ranchers. My dad's has all the.
His dad could sell these to everyone in the world because he says they are the best bean burgers in the world.
So I would recommend giving those a shot instead of maybe focusing on healthier ways to cook something that's not healthy in general. I hope that helps. But
I
yeah.
do want to say though, so I'm going to step in here.
This is unfiltered, I guess. Because
I think for me, one of the biggest things was finding the foods that were our family foods. Like lately, I've been making a lentil loaf, and my kids always called the meatloaf meat gross, and so I call it the lentil gross. But I put everything in the meatloaf or the lentil loaf that I would have put in a meatloaf minus the meat. So the lentils replace the meat. And it's fabulous. It works out amazingly well. And as my niece Cassie and I always say, make it your own. Like my sister likes a savory meatloaf. I like a sweeter meatloaf. So I use all the same ingredients, except for we found a way to substitute the meat out and without, not using a Beyond, because that would be a very high expense. So the lentils cost barely nothing. I mean, but it's still the same. For me, it's the same thing. I'm still able to prepare something. Today we had a potless pot roast. So we had the regular pot roast that we would have always had, but there's no meat in it. So I found a vegan beef broth that we're able to use it to give it some seasoning and
potatoes, onions, carrots,
peas,
things like that. Not celery, because I don't like cooked celery. It's gross. It's gross. All right.
Yeah, so enchiladas. I mean, you've come up with things that we can yummy things that would normally have had meat, and we just omit that, or the dairy, or we omit all of that.
There's a lot of different ways. So here's the thing: some things there's a way to do it. So there's a way to do something vegan. Everything you can veganize everything. But if you're really worried about your health, you really have a lot of weight to lose, you really have these health outcomes that you're trying to change, you're trying to live more healthfully, you're going to need to choose the whole food plant-based diet, the oil-free diet, which means that it is tougher to whole food plant-based veganize every recipe. So you can veganize everything, but can you whole food plant-based everything? Not necessarily to the same degree, but almost every one of those food groups or all those foods, those recipes can be changed to be enjoyed in a way that's more healthful, that is healthful. And it will take a little bit of time to get there. So let's answer some questions. Let's check some questions here. Kaz, yes, I think the hardest part going vegan is other people's silly comments. Yes, there's a lot of silly comments out there. And let me tell you, I was one of those silly commenters before I was vegan, back when I was in my animal science degree and classes and playing college football. I was the biggest vegan basher of all. I've clearly changed, and I've clearly gone the other out on another pathway towards that. But it is frustrating when there's so much misinformation out there. I definitely understand that. Let's see here. Priya, don't most sauces have oil though? In the mayo. So mayo is one that there's all the vegan mayos are oil based. Yeah. So we just cut those out. There is some whole food plant-based ways of going about it. You can use tofus in there. Is it going to taste the exact same, the same consistency? Probably not. So we've gotten used to just eating without it a lot of times. And most sauces, no. So a lot of sauces, most sauces, actually, I would say, you do have to look. So if, but it's funny now, we go to the grocery store and you'll see us there in the sauce section, or and that's really one of the prepared foods that we get a lot. Sauces is instead of before we'd say that looks good in the cart, that looks good in the cart. Now we say, oh, fifth ingredient, oh, it's got soybean oil, can't use that. Oh, this one's got high fructose corn syrup, can't use that. Where it does take a little bit longer to find a more healthful sauce. Yes, some of them are going to have cane sugar. Yeah, some are going to have molasses, barbecue sauce, things like that. But we're talking about cutting out the real big no-nos, and going for more healthful options with that. So I would say sauces you can find a lot of sauces that are more plant-based and vegan. Yes, always vegan. But you can find sauces that are more plant-based.
Shout out to Prego and their Heart Smart no oil sauce. Yum.
Julianne says, my husband even changed the way he eats and loved your tofu recipe. I am so glad to hear that. That is awesome to hear.
Cameron last night. He was eating
we've got our
My
cousin Cameron on here, and Cameron, let's say, is not vegan right now. Not eating whole food plant-based. Not yet. Yet is a good word there. But he came over for Mother's Day, wanted to celebrate with Mom a day early so he could be with his mom today. And I made my oil-free crispy tofu. Gracie made a stir fry. And I tell you what, Cameron and Mom.
She made, pineapple fried rice.
Pineapple oil-free fried rice. And Cam ate that up. And that is high praise to see someone who is a heavy meat eater like he is, but to say, and he enjoyed the meal. Cam, if you're in there, did you enjoy the meal? Did you enjoy the oil-free crispy tofu?
He was popping those tofu.
I'll say this. I thought I made a lot of my oil-free crispy tofu.
3 big packages.
And well, there was 7 people?
Yeah.
7?
No. 6.
6 people. 6 people. So we used 3 blocks of tofu, 3 blocks of tofu. And I thought I made a lot. And of course, I go into the kitchen to grab some water, and I see my dad. There was some still on the stove, and he's scraping it off into his bowl before anybody else could catch there was more in there. And then Cam, he's in the before we were having dinner, he just kept
in the kitchen
popping those nuggets,
popping those tofu nuggets. So that's awesome to see. Let's see, Allison here. Do you have a recipe for pineapple tofu? I don't, but that's a great idea, Allison. And Allison, you normally ask for some recipes, and I think I know you've asked for recipes before, and I think I've made them. So I'm going to make you a pineapple tofu recipe.
That sounds yum.
It does sound yum, doesn't it? Let's see. Cam responded back, yes, I did enjoy the meal, and it was good. Thank you, Cam. Yeah, hey, that was good job, everyone. That was a good job, everyone. All right, let's hear from Gracie here. Grace, what would you recommend to the 15-year-old version of yourself?
Ooh.
Where were you at 15? How much, how were you? Were you a skinny cheerleader at 15?
No.
Okay.
No, I was eating like you, like a football player.
She was eating like a football player. You were eating like a football player. They were all hoping to play for Nebraska someday.
Carbs. And not just carbs, but cheese and butter.
It wasn't the carbs. It wasn't the carbs.
No,
It was we were using carbs, which we eat a lot of carbs now, and we've lost a lot of weight.
Vegetables.
We weren't eating vegetables, but we were eating a lot of rice, but we were using rice as a vessel for butter.
Yes.
We were eating broccoli, but we were using that as a vessel for cheese and butter, right? And so you were eating like a football player. I was eating like an offensive lineman, we should say, a gaining offensive lineman. So let's hear that. So you're eating like a football player. You're eating the same things I was eating.
Right. We just kind of grew up. It was a family thing. Like wherever we had a family event, there was tons of food. We just centered our life around eating. And so, I mean, you just don't think there's anything wrong with it. I mean, there's not anything wrong with it. Right. The way that we were eating, what we were eating. Yeah. I mean, that's what you have to open your eyes to, just the,
we still like to sit around and eat. We still like to sit around.
Right.
But now
We're
it's
gonna have, like, vegetables and hummus
And
Yes.
potatoes and rice and quinoa
Yes.
and corn and
Oh,
beans
gosh, yeah.
and fruit and things like that.
Yeah.
Our table is so pretty and colorful now. Like, I think that's one of the
It's not
Best.
brown and beige.
it's so colorful. When you make the different, I mean, I try to put a red, a green, a yellow, all these different colors, and it's
Right.
really good, healthy food.
Yeah.
And you weren't the one I asked the question to.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So
So what would your advice be to the
What would my
15-year-old that's
advice
eating
be?
like
I
her
don't know.
football player brother?
open your eyes to like a different world of
What are some steps?
lifestyle.
What's the 3 steps that you would take as a 15-year-old? You find yourself overweight. You're kind of stuck in a rut.
Yeah.
You want to. I'm sure you wanted to be skin. We're not trying to be bone. But just
Yeah.
you wanted to be healthy. That's the big
Yeah.
thing. You want to be healthy. And so, what would you tell your 15-year-old self who's in a rut, eating like your football player brother, who's not eating healthy, and you want to be healthy?
Yeah, definitely make up your mind to do this for yourself, not for other people. Like, you have to kind of make up it, that you want to make yourself better personally, aside from everyone else. You want to have goals. Definitely, goals are something that I enjoy doing because when I reach them, I allow myself to like buy something. And so goals were always a good thing. And just to have a plethora of options. Like, you need to plan ahead always. That was a really big thing when I switched. And it's still, it'll probably always be a big thing, getting a family. You always have to plan ahead. You have to take things with you. You have to know what you're going to get yourself into when you go to someone's house, when you go to a restaurant, and to build a community. You have to have a community of
It's
people
surprising.
that are not even maybe just a community of people that support you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's perfect. And if you're just now tuning in, I'm Plant-Based Gabriel. I've lost 100 pounds on a whole food plant-based diet. If you're watching this, you probably know that. This is my mom. Happy Mother's Day, Stephanie, who has lost 70 pounds. And my sister, Grace, also known as the Midwest Vegan Queen. Where can people find you at?
Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook.
So she posts a lot on Instagram. She posts a lot on Facebook. And we're going to get her someday to post a lot on YouTube. And so she's lost 60 pounds. And so we've lost a combined 230 pounds here, where there's a middle-aged fat man walking around who's the weight that we've lost. And so, not my dad, because my dad's is much more older and he's lost a lot of weight. He's not 230 pounds anymore. I'm not talking about him. But so we've kind of gone through it. We're still on this health journey, right? Some of us still have weight to lose. Some of us have goals to reach. We had a question here. Let's see. Okay, so Julian asked, what foods do you eat for breakfast? The standard American diet is loaded with processed breads, ideas. And then we also, and Melanie just jumped on from Germany. Melanie, I think I saw that you were getting ready to do some planting. I know Kurt was having an itch to get out of that greenhouse, so I hope you were able to get some planting done. And then we had another question about what are your favorite fruits, legumes, vegetables, nuts, things like that, foods. What are your favorite foods to staples? Your staple foods. What are the foods that you like to eat? Let's go with you first, Mom.
So we just had the Veg Fest here in Michigan. It was fabulous. Gabriel was one of the demonstrators, and Dr. Estelston came in and did a demonstration or a talk. And so he got me kind of, I love Jane and Anne. And so I decided this week, or actually a couple of weeks ago, to start, because they use the oatmeal and they don't bake it first. They don't cook it. They just eat oats. So I take a half a cup of oats for Dougley and I both. He's been doing it too. He had preferred it warmed, but I kind of swayed him. So just oats and blueberries and bananas, and
which could be cooked. You could cook this.
You could, yeah.
You don't have to eat it raw, oats, like Dr.
It's kind of a quicker breakfast in the morning, and almond milk, and then I put a little cinnamon on it, and it's fabulous. I just absolutely, I crave it in the mornings when I wake up. That's what I want, and it gives me something that's sustainable till
you're not hungry after an hour and a half.
No, it's really, really good, and so that's what we've been having for breakfast.
Oatmeal. Oatmeal is a great option. I know a lot of people don't like oatmeal. You can sub in things like cooked rice. You can sub in things like quinoa. But the base of a lot of oatmeal dishes, you can go to plantbasedgabriel.com and look up recipes, or go to the oatmeal tab You'll find a dozen or so oatmeal recipes. You can go to Forks Over Knives oatmeal recipes. And here's what I would actually recommend on the breakfast question is you can go to something like my website and look up breakfast, but you can also go to Forks Over Knives. You've got a lot more recipes, and you can just type in the search bar breakfast, and you'll find a lot of different options. And I can tell you they're not going to contain things like processed foods or, and there are some, so bread-wise, I guess I will say, there are some unprocessed breads. Things like Dave's Killer Bread is more of a whole wheat, whole grain type bread. Things like Ezekiel bread, those are a better option. But in general, if you're trying to lose weight, that's not maybe the best weight loss type of breakfast food. But if you are going to have bread and breakfast, there are some more unprocessed ways about that. So breakfast, oatmeal for you, Gracie?
Lately I've just been doing cut up banana, cut up strawberry and blueberries in a bowl and adding almond milk on top of it.
It's like a fruit bowl.
Just like a fruit bowl with milk.
Okay.
Like cereal.
Yeah. Like a fruit bowl.
Yeah.
Fruit bowl. Okay. And me, I'm a big fan of oatmeal for breakfast. Clearly, I fix Dr. Miller an oatmeal every single morning, and then I also will fix myself an oatmeal, but I'll also throw in
Someone wanted to know if you were still eating your celery and peanut butter.
So yes, during the summers, I eat a lot more of celery and my low-fat peanut butter, which I make with defatted peanut powder. During the winter, I find I don't find as good as celery, and it's not as enjoyable. But during the summer, I can get my hands on better celery, and I will have that for the mornings. But also sometimes if it's hot, if it's a real hot day, say I have to be out on the farm at like the 1 Acre Vegan Farm. If you haven't checked it out already, we're on, I've got a lot of YouTube videos about the 1 Acre Vegan Farm. But if I'm out harvesting vegetables or doing something like that early in the morning, I come in and it's 7 o'clock. I get half into, I want something quick because I'm gonna head back out to the farm. It's hot out. I will have like a smoothie, a kale smoothie, my low-fat peanut butter smoothie, things like that. And so smoothies or oatmeals are a great option for, especially a quick breakfast. Like you said, if you get used to not cooking the oatmeal, which is not a mandatory thing, but it's something you can do, it takes 30 seconds to make breakfast, right? And if you cook it, it takes 3 minutes, so it's not that much longer.
Right.
And so they're great quick breakfasts. Cut up fruit, a great breakfast option, and doesn't take very long. So that's pretty simple. You can have those staples around. How about lunch?
For lunch,
Lunch/dinner. So give us a couple things.
Okay, so I love cucumbers. I love cucumbers and I love hummus. And I love the sugar snap peas from Aldi's. I love Aldi's. So I could eat just a bag of peas and hummus, or I will have
not hummus.
I make my own.
Even if you're making it your own, it can still be a more higher fat food. So you're trying to lose weight.
Right.
It can be. I'm not trying to be the drill sergeant here, but but keep going.
So I do like a lot.
It's got to be enjoyable. This way
Right.
of eating's got to be enjoyable. It needs to be healthy, but it's also got to be enjoyable.
So I will. I like just. I love celery with peanut butter and raisins. So I will eat a lot of that. So
also. Not something you want to be
That's why my
with.
journey's taking a little longer. I'll admit to that.
But it's enjoyable. So, and you're not eating animals.
That's good.
Oh, gracious.
Okay.
So,
It's a judgment-free zone, everybody.
Clearly.
are you feeling it? Oh, gracious. I do eat a lot of salads, and I use the expulsions, which I think that's legal. So I use the 1, 2, 3, the mustard, the.
It's 3 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar.
Yes.
So this is you could make 3 teaspoons if you're having a small salad,
Right.
but 3 parts balsamic vinegar, 2 parts mustard, 1 part maple syrup. I have actually tweaked that a little bit sometimes, and I'll go like two parts maple syrup, 1 part mustard. For some people that like it a little bit sweeter, but that's an option. But
So I love that, and instead of like pouring that on my whole salad, I'm not one that I don't eat. Like I eat out of more. I don't know, just to pass time. So I will just dip a lettuce leaf in it and eat it. And so I don't like.
It's a 4-hour salad.
It is, and I'm just okay with that. It's just I like to just dip and so I eat at work while I'm sitting at the computer and while I'm doing things. So I find that if I just have healthy things with me, a bag of grapes or some cut up fruit. So it's again as Gracie had mentioned, planning ahead and trying to take things. I have a refrigerator at work, and so trying to take things that are there.
Okay, well, I've been with you for a couple of days, and I've been right. you don't just eat grapes and hummus and let's talk about some meals that you have.
So meals.
Potatoes,
No, it's so much
rice.
difficult. He eats all the meals. Like
He
I
eats
don't
all
eat
the time.
meals.
He's cooking all
I
of
eat,
the time.
like,
I love when they come home.
What's in your
I
fridge?
eat like snacks.
What's in your fridge?
Okay, so that's supper. So a lot of times, okay, so I will say this. My husband and I, he loves that I will cook one big thing on the weekend and then we'll eat it half the week.
That's fine.
So we made baked spaghetti. So I will cut up a square of baked spaghetti and take it. We'll have it for supper, and then I'll take it, or I'll make two.
A great
things.
option. You get a 9x13 pan,
big
and so
pan,
you can
yeah.
do it.
And so then I have to throw in that I use the mushroom. Well, now when Gracie's not here because she doesn't like mushrooms, but you showed me how to do the mushrooms and cauliflower, and I make rice cauliflower and mushrooms.
And brand new vegan. Chuck has a great recipe out there for his meat sauce or his meat crumble. Yeah.
So because for Dougley, he liked to visually think that there was something that was of a texture of meat, and so I didn't necessarily need it, but I just thought, oh, it's extra vegetable, so it's fine. So we make it. I make two of them at a time. I make one that's all Mexican spices, and then one that's all Italian spices. And so then I will make usually like upstairs in the oven or in the refrigerator. Now I have a big thing of Spanish rice, and it has cumin in it and vegetables, corn, beans, onions, peppers. But then when I'm sauteing the onions and peppers and all of that, I do another one for Italian. And so, then we'll just eat that literally all week long. So I'll take a little bit for lunch or to,
Hot
supper.
roast, your roastless roast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't make I'll make big things on the weekends, but then
Which
on
is
the
very
weekdays,
helpful to a lot of people.
Or last week I did, because now we're feeding our Chihuahua Twinkles healthy also. So I made sweet potatoes. I made the regular.
The Chihuahua's
potatoes.
14 years old and can't eat anything, and so they're now she's eating some oatmeal and some potatoes, sweet potatoes,
peas and carrots, and she's loving.
Not recommended. I would recommend if you're going to feed your dog a plant-based or a vegan food. I would recommend basing that around a prepared. Pre-made vegan food that has AFCO certified guidelines and adding in plant foods.
Okay,
but she's a 14-year-old Chihuahua who won't eat anything else but some mashed up peas.
Yeah, and she loves it, and she's eating it. And she doesn't have long anyway. So
she's a Chihuahua with 2 teeth, so it is what it is. All right, so a lot of good staples there. Grace, let's hear from you.
For lunches, I am normally on the go doing things, so I'll have 3 frozen bananas, some almond milk, some chocolate protein powder from the Garden of Eden, and have a protein shake. Or just a kind of banana shake. I think that's what I pretty much am on the go with. Normally, I always if I'm not
a meal though.
Yeah. I'm trying to think because kind of like Stephanie over there, I don't have to prepare food for myself, so I'm more of a meal salad.
Well, thanks for nothing, guys.
No, one of my favorite things is that I like to make for other people too, and I have is cook up lentils, and I'll make a big thing of lentils so I can eat that out throughout the week. Slice up sweet potatoes and roast them. I'll throw both of those on some lettuce with some hummus, then cumin, little seasonings.
We do a lot of soups in the wintertime.
A lot of soup. So my dad's a big soup fan, so she makes a lot of soups.
Chili.
So chilies, vegan soup. So here's I'll try to be a little more applicable here for everybody. Again,
you are plant-based people.
Again, it's a beautiful, not a beautiful day in Indiana, but it's a wonderful day because we're here on Mother's Day with the beautiful Stephanie, who's again lost 70 pounds, with my sister who's lost 60 pounds. I'm plant-based giver, lost 100 pounds. So here is something about, so a lot of people I know are on here. You're jumping on this way of eating. You're trying to lose some weight. You want to gain your health back. You've lived 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years. You've gotten to the point where your health is a concern, or you've had health problems, or you've reached a weight where you need to lose weight. And here are some applicable, some practical ways about going about that. The first thing is Gracie has touched on it. You've got to prepare ahead. My biggest key for anybody who's trying to get on this way of eating, who's trying to sustain it, is have those staples easy and ready to go. I never am more than 15 minutes away from a meal if all things are good. So meaning I always have cooked brown rice in my fridge. I always have roasted potatoes in my fridge. I always have cooked beans or canned beans in my pantry or in my fridge. Those simple things never keep me more than 15 minutes, and sometimes a lot less than a cooked meal. I always have rolled oats in my pantry. So for breakfast, we'll have a lot of oatmeals. You can use a microwave. You can use a hot water. You can make them in the Instant Pot. There's 1,000 different ways about making oatmeal. But the key is it's a very quick thing to make. You're never too far away from it, and there's a lot of different variations. That's a great thing that we have for breakfast. For lunches and dinners, if you're trying to lose weight, say you're someone who's in the category of someone who's gotten on this way of eating and you want to lose some weight, you're trying to regain your health, but you're having trouble. You've reached a plateau, or you're not gaining weight, or 1,000 different things. I recommend starting meals off, if you're eating a plant-based diet and you're trying to lose weight, and here is Dr. Miller.
Dr. Miller, come here. People want to see you. Hi.
There is Dr. Miller. So
we love Dr. Miller.
So for people who are, if you're trying to lose weight, you might have reached, is adding in a salad before your lunch and dinner now, or green leafy vegetables, just non-starchy vegetables before you have that starch-based meal. And here's the reasoning why, is that by adding in something like a salad, that could be a 6-ounce salad, an 8-ounce salad, it could be 12 ounces of salad if you want to go crazy. Really, it can be what is more so applicable for yourself in having that salad. But have that salad, have an oil-free dressing with it. You can throw some starches in there, some rice, some corn, some quinoa, some beans, if you like. Or you can just have a regular salad with an oil-free dressing, something like Dr. Esselstyn's dressing, or like my Southwest spinach salad dressing. But with that salad, we have a salad to start the meal. What that's going to do is that's just going to help fill me up a little bit. Salads are full of fiber. They're full of water. That's what you're really going to get from that. And, of course, phytonutrients. But we're going to fill up a little bit, which means that when I move to that starch-based meal, it could be my 15-minute French fries. It could be the enchilada baked. It could be my bean burgers. It could be a ton of different healthy foods. But those are foods that I find myself, when I know a lot of people can find themselves eating 3-4 servings of, which if you're at a healthy weight, if you have a lot of high output, you're exercising heavily, 3 or 4 servings might be great. But if you're someone who's having trouble losing weight, 3 or 4 servings may not be great. It could be the healthiest food in the world, but if you're eating too much of it, it can become a problem. So I have that salad. I have something like steamed green beans maybe before or in that meal. Things that are those non-starchy vegetables that are going to help fill me up a little bit. And then as I move to that bean burger, I move to that enchilada bake, I find that I can have 1 serving or 2 servings. And by the time I'm on that second serving, that salad has helped fill me up a little bit, and I reach that point of satiety. I've reached a point of I'm satiated to where I can push back everything and say, I'm full. I don't need to keep eating. And I am someone who's a quantity eater. I eat in masses, so having that little bit of salad there, or having those steamed green beans or the broccoli or whatever, bell peppers, carrots, you can choose a million different things, but having those high fiber, high water foods before I can fill up a little bit, and that means I'm just not going to eat as much, and so I'm just going to be able to reach a point of fullness without getting to that point of reaching a ton of calories or going over a caloric intake. So that's a big thing. That's for lunch and dinner, and could be for breakfast, but lunch and dinner I find are the big ones. That's a big key. If you're trying to lose weight, you're reached a plateau, you're having trouble doing it, though that is a huge key. But what will I have for dinner? After I have my salad, after I have steamed green beans, I will have something like an enchilada bake. We make that a lot. If we're going to someone's house, we'll have enchilada bakes. I saw someone on there who had an enchilada bake. It's a great, easy thing to make. We'll have my easy vegan tacos. So that's corn tortillas, which we warm up on the oven racks, and we'll have cooked brown rice, we'll have beans, we'll have corn, we'll have quinoa on there, and then we'll have salsa. And if you know me, I'm going to have a little bit of sriracha on there. That's another great quick meal. Something like my oil-free stir fry. Cooked brown rice, put it in a pan with some soy sauce and a couple different spices. And the recipe's on my website, so I'm kind of going off my head here of what's in there. And we'll have some cooked or some frozen peas or some frozen beans or frozen broccoli. Those release some moisture. We don't have to worry about things really sticking to the base of the pan, and that's a great meal. We'll have that a lot. We'll have things like noodle dishes. We'll have burritos and tacos. And there's really a lot of different things. But the key is, and I know a lot of you catch on to this, but I want to mention it again, is everything I mentioned was built around a few starchy staples. Right. They were built, my burgers, they're based around beans, rice, and oats. I remembered. My enchilada bake, rice, beans, corn tortilla, things like that. And so we are, one second here. We're
What happened?
for some reason our Facebook stream has finished up. Facebook, you've been wonderful. Thank you for viewing. YouTube, we're still here, and we do have to finish up here pretty soon. I hope this was helpful. I'm so glad I was able to get. We were on Mother's Day.
Love you. I love
we're
you.
on Mother's Day, so we're kind. Oh, I think we may be. I don't know if we're back, but we're on Mother's Day. We've got some time constraints, so we weren't able to do a full, super long live stream. But I wanted to get my mom, again, who's lost 60 pounds, she's doing amazing on a whole food plant-based diet. She's killing it, and is someone who I know others are looking up to, but someone I look up to so much. And we got my sister, the Midwest Vegan Queen, who is here on, she's lost 60 pounds so far on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And so these are people that I look up to. Any closing thoughts? We've got people out here. I think we're back on. Uncle Chris is on here. It sounds like we are, we might be not, I don't know if we're on, let's see here. I don't know if we're on YouTube or not, right, or Facebook right now, but let's get some applicable things. We got people on here. They might be, discouraged. They might be encouraged, but give them a last thought. What's your last thought here?
Just start. Just even if you, like some people have said, oh, I can't do it. And I'm 50 years old. I just turned 50 years old. And I feel like I feel better than I ever have in my entire life. So I don't have my aches. My joints don't ache. Dougley, who has had so many knee surgeries and so many different things, his weight has stayed off. I mean, it's been amazing. Just if you're not feeling good, or if you know a family member, and a lot of people have said, you're so blessed because all of your family does it. And I feel blessed. I feel that we are a blessed family. When we sit down to a meal together, there's nothing on there that any of us can't have. And so if you're struggling, or if you know someone's struggling, even if they change one thing or one meal a day, or just make some healthy options, like people in our family, and we have my stepdad who's fighting cancer, and Cassie, what's her?
The stay-at-home vegan.
The stay-at-home vegan. She has made a tremendous difference in his health because of all the juicing. And my sister, they're making healthy choices. Like Cassie's gone 100%. Like she is 100%. But it started with just making some different choices, or seeing the difference that you've made in your life, and the difference that Grace has made in her life, the difference that Dougley and I have made. And we're not all perfect. Dougley, he eats what I fix, and I love that. But I love that I can inspire someone else, or someone else is having a health problem, and I can say, try it. Try taking meat out for a week, or try it, try 3 days with no meat or with no dairy, or it will make a difference in your health and how you feel.
There's a lot of reinforcement in this
gosh.
way. Right? You feel good, you feel better, and that's applicable for a lot of people.
And so many people say I could never do it, and again, I think
all of us would you.
My kids.
Well, you probably could have said you couldn't have done it. I know I said I could never do it. I'm sure you said I could never do it. So if you're someone out there who says I could never do it, well, get on board. Right. Jump on board, because we've all said we couldn't do it. But you realize that it is much easier.
And I have dieted all of my life. I mean, seriously, all of my life. And I know that he, was telling me I should still have some peanut butters and different things. I don't feel like I diet, though. I really seriously don't. I make healthy choices. And yes, I can cut down on butter or peanut butter. And I know if I'm walking, if I'm doing some different things, and I will, make healthier choices that way also. So, but I don't feel like I diet at all. It's been a complete life change.
It's a life change.
It is a complete life change. And so.
And you've done amazing.
I love you.
I'm super proud of her. Gracie.
Thank you.
Let's hear it. Got someone out there. You've got a young Gracie, a young future Midwest Vegan Queen out there. Overweight, to feel like they're unhealthy. They don't know what the heck to do.
Yeah, I would say definitely for the you kind of have to have a reason why. You have to, I would say, for just to get someone on this and to stick on it, you have to start getting active in your first in your vegan community. I think vegan friends and uplifters are really, really inspiring to help to solidify reasons why you're doing this, go to Humane Society, go to animal sanctuary, see the animals that you're actually standing up for and trying to make a difference in the world for. You have to be able to stand up for something that you really believe in, and I think having a solid foundation in that is really going to help you to want to stick to what your plan is, to eating healthy, to eating a whole food plant-based diet. Like, you're not going to want to go eat a tub of dairy ice cream if one of the reasons why you're doing this is because you see a mother cow with her baby getting taken away from them. You're going to want to stick to it full on. You're going to be like, oh, let me go make some nice cream, plant-based Gabriel's nice cream. I mean, there's reason. You have to have a solid foundation of reasoning why you want to. Not
so get some education. Go out there and go. There's on YouTube. If you go to my YouTube page, if you're on my YouTube page, or you go to my YouTube page, you can find I've got a great playlist put together. It's called a Whole Food Plant-Based Diet playlist. It's got over 300 videos. Those are videos that I've shared that with my family. Those are videos that I watched as I was making the transition. Those are videos that I share with hundreds of people all the time that have made a difference with thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people. And so there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of people out there spreading the good word. The great thing is that it's easy. It's simple. You don't have to pay anything. You don't have to, go to a specific class. It's just eat the whole plant foods. You base your diet around those. You're gonna gain your health. You're gonna reach your goals, and you're just gonna change your whole outlook on life. So, I am Plant-Based Gabriel. I'm here with my little sister Gracie, the Midwest Vegan Queen. Check her out. I'm here with my mom. Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Sarah, if you're on here, you're going to check this out. If you were on here, thank you for joining us on a Mother's Day. Wishing a wonderful Mother's Day to all the ladies out there. And, I shared a video this morning. I was out planting some mint for my mom here. And just want to say it again. You know what? If someone hasn't told you already, and if you don't know it, I love you. I care about you. This world is better when we all are on the right path. And so you can make a difference. We're all making a difference out there. And so for Plant-Based Gabriel, for our Sunday stream with Gracie, the Midwest Vegan Queen, and my mom, we're wishing you a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend. And make sure if you have any questions, let us know. We'll be sure to answer them. So you guys have a great afternoon. We'll see you next time. Let's see here. Oh, and goodbye.